Okay, I'm going to talk about how to do object-oriented programming in Python, and I'm going to do it with program exercise number 2. So it would be much more beneficial to you to try to do this yourself and then refer back to this video when you get stuck or when you complete it successfully, and just to compare if there was a different way to do it. If you have no idea how to do it in Python, you need to find a resource. Search online, go to the input section of Learning Module, where you're going to find Language Companion. And you don't just sit down and do code, you think about the problem, create a UML diagram, make it in Raptor first, something like that. But then you're going to get to this document, and you're going to want to read it thoroughly and make sure you understand it. And you can watch the video notes for number 1 to see how you do it in general. What's different about number 2 is a constructor, so I'm going to pick up there and not talk about the details of this too much, because you can get those in the video notes and you can get that from reading this. But I will do the, we'll get you started on this in Python. And all I'm going to do is refer to the cell phone UML diagram and compare that with my car UML diagram to see how they're different, and then modify this code to be similar to my UML for my car. And fortunately, Raptor makes something that looks very similar to UML when you define the class in Raptor. So I'm going to use this as the basis for my code and just do the changes that are different compared with the phone book, or the cell phone. Alright, so I want to start with the keyword class and the name of the class. I want to do car, gets a colon. We want to do a capital letter for our class name. We want to define a method. Python is special that we don't really have to explicitly define our fields. Python is going to figure out our fields from our methods. We want to do a constructor, and normally the constructor has the exact same name as a class name. Python does it a little bit different. They use this init. There's a special keyword used for constructors. Another thing that's special in Python is that every method call needs to include this keyword self, so it knows which object to refer to do these things. So we haven't had to think about anything yet. And then we're going to put the parameters that are needed for the constructor. And I'm going to use year and car make. I'd already thought about those. And after that, we're going to put a colon. And this is just like a function header. We've made function headers before. We just have these special symbols, the double underscores, which is holding down shift and using the key next to 0 on your keyboard. And then I'm going to use the keyword self, dot operator, which is period, double underscore. Now I'm putting my field names. Whatever you put here, this is how you define your fields. So my fields, I want year, model, make, and speed to be here. And I knew that from just reading the exercise and how it was supposed to work. All right, and what do we do in the constructor? We can look back in here to see what we actually do. we set year model to year. So that wasn't a waste of time to make that in Raptor. It's going to make this so much easier. Nothing really to think about. We just have to look at how the syntax works. We also had methods for getting the 3 member variables, the 3 fields. We want to, so we don't need to worry about sets for this particular program, but we see how to do them if we need to. Here's our gets. Remember to put self in every one of them, and that's the only thing we need in a get. And we want to do return just like we did in Raptor. That's how our get worked. We just returned, except we use this .year model in Raptor, and in Python we're going to do self dot. So every programming language is a little bit different, and that's why this class is good, because you get to experience that. And that's how programming really works. You know what you want to do, you just figure out how you need to do it. And I'm not going to write all of these. You can write them yourself, following the same template. This word here is matching these words here, is all there is to it. So I would make one more get, and then I need to make accelerate and break. Just remembering to do self, and then we are done with our class. We don't, pseudocode in the book told us you have to have end class, but Python figures that out when we stop indenting. So we can just do def main, and whenever we have a function definition for that, we want to make sure we don't forget to do our call, just like they have here. I'm just reading from here. And what are we going to do in main? We need to create the object, just like we did in Raptor. First thing we did, we created an object. We created kit was a new car. You need to create, and here they're doing phone is a new cell phone. We're going to do kit gets new It's car. Remember, this is creating a new object. It's a new instance of the class. It's really a sneaky function call to the constructor function, which is up here. So I need to pass whatever this is expecting. Self gets passed automatically. You don't have to worry about that. We need to pass year and make. And just to test this, I'm going to print kit.get year model. And since that is a function name, I need to put the open and close parentheses there. And let's just see if this works. there it is. So we're on the right track. You just need to finish your other definitions for your methods and add the functionality that is called for in here. Doing your accelerate and get speed.